First, Nephi tells the story of the prophet Lehi, his wife Sariah, and their sons, Laman, Lemuel, Sam, and Nephi. The book starts with the family in Jerusalem. After having a vision, Lehi preached to the people. They did not receive it well. God then told Lehi to take his family into the wilderness in order to keep them safe. Next, God told Lehi on 2 separate occasions to send his sons back to Jerusalem. First, they had to go get the brass plates. Second, they had to bring Ishmael and his family, including his eligible daughters, back with them. In Jerusalem, they offered Laban all of their wealth for the plates. Laban decided he wanted to get their money and to keep the plates, so he sent his servants to slay them. While Laman and Lemuel wanted to give up, Nephi stuck with it. The spirit led him to Laban that night. Laban was drunk. The spirit told Nephi to slay Laban. After struggling with this for a bit, Nephi executed Laban. Nephi then put on Laban's clothes and went to get the plates. The disguise worked. Laban's servant, Zoram, thought Nephi was Laban and so brought him the plates. Zoram went on to join Lehi's family in their journey. Lehi searched the brass plates, learning much from the writings of Moses and the prophets. As for the sons, hello, handsome. They got to know Ishmael's daughters, and eventually they married and started families. Lehi had a vision about the tree of life. In the vision, he was in a dark and dreary place. He was then visited by a man dressed in white robes, who asked Lehi to follow him. They traveled for hours, and eventually came to a white tree. When Lehi ate of the fruit of the tree, he was filled with great joy, and he wanted his family to eat the fruit too. He looked around and saw his family. He invited them to come to the tree. Sariah, Sam, and Nephi did come to the tree and eat the fruit, but Laman and Lemuel did not. He also saw a path leading to the tree with an iron rod and a river running along it. There was a mist making it hard to follow the path, but those who held to the rod and followed the path made it to the tree. On the other side of the river was a great and spacious building. People in the building mocked those on the path. Those who left the rod and the path were lost. Those who stayed on the path found joy. Subsequently, an angel gave Nephi a guided tour of the vision and world history. Later, Lehi found a compass-like device outside his tent one morning. This was the Liahona that guided the family in the wilderness. It worked as long as they were righteous. The families then took their things and traveled in the wilderness. It was hard at times. One difficult experience was when Nephi's hunting bow broke, and they were not sure how they would get food. Things worked out, and eventually they made it to a seashore paradise where they lived happily and their families continued to grow. One day, Nephi was commanded to go into the mountain, where he prayed, and was told to build a boat. Laman and Lemuel needed to be shocked into action, but eventually the whole group got to work, finding ore and other materials needed to build the boat. They then built a boat. After sailing away, things went well for a while, until one day, Laman and Lemuel began partying too much. Nephi asked them to stop, and this angered them so much that they tied him up. At this point, the Liahona stopped working, and a great storm came upon the ship. Laman and Lemuel eventually came to regret this life choice, at least for the moment, and they finally freed Nephi. With Nephi back at the helm, the weather calmed, the Liahona began working, and they got back on track. They eventually arrived at the Promised Land and began their new lives.